Our Tony in the Trenches comes to us from a group of people, there they are, in attendance at an educational workshop I conducted on November 8th, just a few days ago, in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, who, following my presentation of the many C's to a worry-free retirement, had the two main questions at the very end, and here they are. Number one, the main question on the minds of all of them, who can we trust with this money? The second question, how in the world, Tony, do we offset the effects of inflation? Now, regarding the trust question, the main thing you must ask any advisor before ever handing your money over to them is this: what are your credentials? And while I can't speak for other advisors or financial entertainers on the radio or TV, I can speak to mine. In fact, to learn more about me and my credentials, you can go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. And what you're going to do there is you will click on the download section at the site, and then you put in some information. It's all confidential, but you'll get access to all of our free materials, and included in there is About Tony and my credentials page. So please check that out. Now, the second question, inflation. Let me say this. Inflation, which simply means that over time, the value of your dollar will be worth less over time, has always been with us and always will be. Take, for example, the first person to ever receive a Social Security check. This was back in the 1930s, Miss Ida Mae Fuller. Now notice something. The amount of that first check back in the 1930s, take a look at that. $24 a month. So that's right, folks. You're not seeing things. $24 a month was all old Ida Mae got from the government. Which, back in those days, though, was a lot of money and probably enough to fill up a whole grocery cart full of food. Today, the $24 won't even fill up your car's gas tank. Now, we fast forward to 1980. There's me and Granddad sitting on the porch. He received something back then called a pension, or what he called mailbox money. Now, notice, that's not a lot of money, $665 a month. But you know what? He never worried about money. I was around Granddad all the time because he had that, and he had his Social Security, and again, something he called
mailbox money.
So for sure, the money Granddad received in 1980 was a lot more than Ida Mae got in the 1930s, but probably didn't buy as much more than this $24 a month she got, because in 1980, as you fast forward to today, the amount of money Granddad got to live on back then would be difficult for those of you today. So this notion of inflation, again, is nothing new. The cost of goods and services has, for the most part, always gone up. Now, sure, there are times when prices will come back down, which they will, but overall, the cost of living has always gone up. I just wanted to settle that. So you say, well, Tony, that's really, that's like a Captain Obvious moment. What am I supposed to do like those folks in that workshop that asked the same question? What can I do to try to worry less about this issue of inflation? Well, let me give you some tips. The first one is to simply spend less money. Now, I know, I said it. You said, well, wait a minute, Tony, I thought you're the guy about all this spending money. Well, folks, you've got to understand, when you get into retirement, there will be certain things, especially that you have to give and take a little bit. We talked about concessions, that you might have to spend less money on. For instance, I had a couple in yesterday. They're thinking about retiring. They're going to be fine. Don't get me wrong. We've got the game plan laid out, all of that. But the one thing she commented on, she said, Tony, we used to do a lot of travel all around the world. I'm assuming we may have to curb that a little bit. And I said, well, quite frankly, you probably are. Doesn't mean you can't travel, but you might have to be just a little bit more wise with what you spend your money to travel on. Just get a little more creative. That's all we're talking about. Number two, remember, in most cases, while inflation will dog you throughout retirement, as you age, there is a very, very real possibility that over time, you're going to spend less money. Case in point, just the other day, a longtime client of mine who is over 80 years of old stopped in for a review, and I had in my mind to go to this graphic. It's called the 3 Halves of Life. I was talking to him and I said, well, I'll call him Mr. Jones. Mr. Jones, everything going okay? Yeah, I got this bone hurting and this hurts, my hair hurts and all this stuff. And I said, by the way, Mr. Jones, we still got a lot of money here. Do you need any more income? Your investments have done okay? Do you need some more income? And he said, Tony, I'm 80 years of age. I ain't even spending the money you're already sending me. Basically, folks, what he's talking about is something I noticed years ago called the 3 Halves of Life. And here's what's going to happen. I'm telling you, this happens. Most people, this is called halftime. This is the point in time, usually between 60, 70 years of age, where you should be enjoying this money. Why? Because just like the 80-year-old said, you still can. You can generally do traveling. You're in good health. You can do things with the kids and grandkids. But if you wait too long and you get into what's called the second half of life, this is why the blue represents the money you're going to have. The blue should actually go down. You should spend more here versus later because, again, like most people, my 80-year-old gentleman client, you're going to start spending less money. Okay, let's go to number 3. Another way to combat inflation is make more money on your money. Now you got to watch this one. On the surface, to make more money on your money sounds good. And most of us have been taught that the only way to make more money on your money is what? Yeah, you got to put it at risk, which might be fine for personalities such as an investor or speculator. But again, folks, this show is dedicated to savers. We at Tony Walker Financial can show you how to make more money, more income, without putting all of this money at risk. Aaron's over at the helm doing a great job. Aaron, let's take a look at number 4. This is going to throw you off a little bit. You know, the late, great John Bogle said about 10 years ago, he said, this may be the first time in history that people are going to have to rely on spending principal, not just interest. You know, it used to be you went down to the bank and you tossed your money in the bank CD and got 7% on your $100,000. So you got $7,000 a year. You protected the principal, and if you died, you got the $100,000 to the kids. It was really simple, very easy to plan your future. But this is not Granddad's day. This is a new day, but also we go back to Granddad and what he was doing. You see, when Granddad had that pension, what he didn't realize, the beauty of that pension, which is really just an annuity, is all a pension is, he was spending both the principal and interest, which meant he had mailbox money for the rest of his life, and he would not run out of money. Again, which is what an annuity does. If you run and toss your money in the bank right now, and you're earning 1%, or you throw all your money over there in Wall Street and hope they can protect your principal and not run out of money, it's probably not going to happen. That is not a realistic way for people, especially savers, to try to grow their money. So we can show you how to spend both your principal and your interest without the fear of running out of money. Number 5, consider an inflation-protected annuity. Now, quite frankly, we've sold these annuities for years, but not paid that much attention to them. They're relatively new to the scene. Most insurance companies do not offer them. So what is an inflation-protected annuity? Well, basically, it has provisions built into the contract, which there's a possibility, it's not guaranteed, but there's a possibility that as the annuity starts growing, the income will grow as well. So that way, if you elect to take income or mailbox money, over time it possibly could grow to keep up with inflation. A really cool tool and something when we meet or discuss by phone we can talk about, an inflation-protected annuity. Number 6, my favorite, just take on the Live Well, Die Broke philosophy. Folks, if you haven't purchased this book, let me ask you to do so. You can get it at Amazon.com or any major bookseller. I think this is a game changer. This book was written on the premise of 37 years of working in the financial trenches. It was based on my life of watching my granddad and other conservative people, lower middle income people that didn't have tons of money, that had to make good with what they had. And what we're going to show you in this book, Live Well, Die Broke, is how to enjoy your money while you still can without the fear of running out of money. That's what the Live Well, Die Broke philosophy is all about. But many of you have bought into this notion that you've got to stockpile more and more money and that there's never a game plan in place to use and enjoy it.
Thanks for watching. We hope you enjoyed that video. If you'd like, check out these other clips. And be sure to hit that like button and that subscribe button for more videos.